Sometimes we may think that there is good in this realm, and we see it through ourselves, and we see it through the people in our lives that we care for and love, and also in the good deeds of others that bring less suffering and things of that nature. But when you really think about it, nothing good can actually exist here. The good that we are perceiving are just mere shadows of that highest good. And people in our lives we love and care for, and they bring us certain amounts of joy and love and goodness that this world cannot offer. But there is no justification for that person being in this realm. That is a bad, despicable thing to put someone through. So all your loved ones are here experiencing this torture and suffering, imprisoned in a body, imprisoned in the world of a false, illusionary realm. That's not good. And there's no amount of good that that person can bring to your life to justify that person being here. So ultimately, it's not good. It's very bad that anyone is here. And the good that we receive from them is just a mere shadow of the actual fullness of goodness that can happen, that can be experienced, because it has been diluted down through the mechanisms of this realm. And you only see a mere shadow of that true goodness that is being projected to you through those people. You have to realize that these people, although they do bring goodness to your life, a shadow of goodness, they are also imprisoned against their will, doing things that they don't want to do, experiencing suffering, experiencing slavery, experiencing all the mind fuckery that this place brings, all the illusions and propaganda and programming they also went through. They're going through it on a daily basis. I truly don't want any of my loved ones to be going through this, and it is not good that they are here. No matter how much, quote, goodness they bring to my life, I would rather them not be here in this hell. I would rather them be free of all of this. I would rather them not have to experience this and be enslaved in this place. So there's no amount of good that they could bring me to make me justify them being here. There's no amount of love or affection or any of that stuff that's going to make me think, oh, well, good does exist here. It's just in the people and what they bring in helping other people. There's no amount of help that someone can bring you in order to justify them being here. There's nothing. Everything is based off of lack and need. And because we lack and need love, we lack and need affection, we lack and need all of these things, it is presented to us through this other person to fulfill that within us. But ultimately, it will never be truly fulfilled because we were always in a state of lack. And that person then becomes a material object in order to get loose extraction from, to get you what you need. It has to be a selfless love that doesn't expect or need anything back. But that is really hard to exist in this place because we may think that we need nothing, but in reality, because of the body itself, we need everything. We're in a state of poverty. We're always in a state of poverty in this realm. And there's no amount of transcendence that you can get to that will lead you out of that poverty as long as you're in prison in this realm. And even the love that you perceive you get from your animal friends, realize that they are in an even more dumbed down state than you. Look at your pets, if you have pets, and realize that they are even more enslaved than we are. Like, we are enslaving them to be our friends, basically, even though they don't have the perception to get out of the dog nature or the cat nature. They're forced to remain in that nature, and they can't even self-reflect or look around and say, hey, what if I don't want to be in this house all day? I have a life too. I want to go out there and make something of myself. I want to hunt my own food, and I want to, have... I'm laughing at this because it's so silly, but if we exist eternally, do you think those animals would want to be in that dumbed down state for all eternity? No, they don't. They want the awareness to be able to freely choose what they want as well, without the limitations of the animal mind. And in a way, like, we are a more advanced version of that animal mind. We're able to think up more complex things, but ultimately we're still in our own deceptions and illusions about who we are. But at least we're a higher level than that. Now think about the higher level of us. We are like the dog. We're such a dumbed down state of existence that the next level of our awareness would seem such a great leap from an animal to a man. That's the perceptual shift that a human will have once going to the next level of perception, which is out of the body, into the fullness of who they really are. But that's just a metaphor, because it goes much, much more than that. Much more than that. I have pets, and I can admit that they are slaves. But at the same time, I cannot release them because they are too weak. They aren't in tune with nature, and they will surely die, just like the human would die if they were left out in nature at the will of the forces of nature. So now they are stuck with me, and I take care of them, and I try to love them the best I can, even though I know that I, in a way, am forcing them to live within my own bounds and my own will, and they can't do things that they really want to do. And I train and force them to not be who they are, which is sad ultimately, but in order to live with me, that's the way it has to be. And I realize that's not allowing their freedom. And I realize that their freedom they're not even free. They're going off of their instincts and their survival mechanisms and what they've been programmed to do. And I would not, under any circumstance, want them to remain in that dumbed down state that's even more dumbed down than me. I want them to have unlimited potential as well. I want them to get to my level, but how do I instill gnosis into an animal? I know that they have some form of telepathy, because I know that they can pick up my energy and they can read my mind sometimes. I don't even have to say anything, and they understand certain things. They know when I'm about to do something or when I'm not about to do something. They can pick up on it. So I know that their intelligence is more than they're letting on, but at the same time, they're still dumbed down animals, and I feel extremely sorry for them. I would love to communicate and talk with them and tell them how to seek for higher consciousness, for that inner gnosis, but ultimately it seems impossible. And it's almost the same with people in this realm. They're stuck in their animalistic programmings, and there's no way for someone like me or you to instill any kind of gnosis into them. They're running on their own scripts of human, just like the dog is running on their own scripts of dog. And they don't know any better. They think that's all that it is. They think that's all there is. So going back to my point, there's no amount of good that this animal is bringing me that I would want it to remain here. I would want it to be manifested in the flesh in order to provide me some kind of good, like a service they're providing me. I'm extracting the loose out of it so that I can feel better. No. And just like with people, even though there is good and love in their hearts and what they do, and they make my life less sufferable, I would not wish that upon them, just in order to bring me some kind of perverted, diluted form of goodness, because good cannot exist in a realm of evil. Good is always going to be perverted by the evil. The good comes down, washed in the evil and deception, and it is presented as a shadow of what truly is good. And in a world of evil, we see the shadow of good and we say, that is good. There's something good about this life. Look, it's right there. But it's just merely a chained and imprisoned good that's been perverted and raped and then presented to us as, look, here's something good. No. There's nothing good about any of this. I myself am not good. It is impossible to be good. Good is the absence of evil. And as we know, evil surrounds us. Evil is the human nature, is the material realm. If good were to exist here, it would not be in this material, physical prison. It would not be entrapped into it. It would be free to fully express itself without the perversions of evil. Also, this so-called good and love that we find in people are also meant to entrap our consciousness more into this realm so that we focus on the here and now and gratifying those unmet needs and desires that we find in other people, and we can get lost and consumed in that. And the goodness that we perceive in our loved ones, though they may be real in a certain sense, in a perverted way, it is ultimately a distorted or incomplete good, because it is tied to this physical existence, which is inherently flawed and deceptive and the source of all suffering for us here. The love may feel pure, but it's only mediated through the physicality of emotions and attachments that are ultimately transient and conditioned by the material world's limitations. Even though the joy and the connection we experience are perversions of the true spiritual love that may exist beyond this physical realm. These words are hard to even put. These ideas are hard to put into words because there is no real words to express these things. These words are spells that we are casting into this false illusion, and it limits our unlimited perception to think in the bounds, in the bookends of the words themselves. My pure awareness can instantly give you what I'm thinking, but in this realm, that is nearly impossible to do. So these relationships bring us some kind of comfort in this realm of suffering. But at the same time, it's designed to keep us bound to this illusion. The problem isn't love, which is a word that's hard to describe. It's not the love that this world wants to give you. Love of the world. No, it's not love of the world. It's love in its pure sense, which is wanting your ultimate freedom and liberation. So love is inherently perverted while it exists in this fallen state. And from this, I think what the only love that we can truly give to one another is the love of gnosis, the love of knowledge of where we are, and awakening the ones that we can awaken to seek true liberation beyond this prison physical world, because we know that true love, it's just a word, it's more than that, can't exist here. So there's no amount of love or joy or comfort in this world that can justify the injustice of existence itself. If we have truly been trapped in this corrupt material prison against our will, even the love of another awakened spirit or even a sleeper, that goodness and that love is occurring within the confines and the system of suffering, limitation, and deception. So if we're all in this dark dungeon, and the best that we can do is give each other kindness and companionship and supporting us through it, it may bring some sort of relief. But the fact remains that none of us should be here in the first place. So none of it is justified by any amount of comfort. Because if this place never existed, we would never need to seek solace from one another. We would never need to seek company and commiserate with one another, because we would be ultimately free. We would be ultimately free from this. And the perverted manifestation of love wouldn't even be a thing. So the highest good here is not found in the fleeting pleasures and happiness within this illusion, but it is to escape it. No amount of love, no amount of affection, no amount of anything your so-called loved one is bringing you is worth being trapped in here with you in order to provide that for you. So the best that we can do for one another is not providing love and comfort in order to make you drunk on the illusions of this world so that you remain trapped in it and not seeking for something higher, but to ultimately help awaken one another to the fact that this is not where we belong, and this is not all that there is, and there is need. The ultimate need is getting out of here. So in my own perverted love for you is for you to awaken to your highest potential and to realize where you are and what has been done to you, and to commiserate with all of you, not to keep you bound in the physicality of this place, comforting you to remain where you are, but helping you awaken to the fact that we have been dumbed down, imprisoned, and thrown into the darkest, deepest pits of the abyss. And to find comfort in that is not the way. To find comfort and love through the darkest pits is only numbing the fact of where you are. The highest amount of love that we could give each other is not just comforting us through this, but instilling the light of gnosis in one another and helping one another, supporting one another, not in physical means, but in spiritual means, helping us get to each necessary level of awareness, and then helping one another, pushing off one another to get the hell out of here. Even though I am sad and disheartened that all my loved ones have been birthed into this existence, I can find some sort of gratitude from them that they are part of my life, even though I wish that they didn't have to go through this and we could just meet each other on the other side of this. Since they are here, I am grateful that they choose to spend their limited amount of energy and resources and love, attention, and care on me. And I can find gratitude in that, not gratitude for this realm for providing that to me through them. No, I am grateful to them that they are providing that through their own ways, even though they are suffering in their own way. I am grateful to them that we could share what we have. Even in the darkest pits of hell, we still have some form of perverted care and affection and love to give one another, to comfort one another through this. I'm grateful for that, but not for the fact that they are here. Like I said, I would much rather them I would much rather them to have never been born so that they wouldn't have to go through the absolute sufferings and tortures of this realm. And I wish I was never born too, so that we would never be here. But what I'm saying is, we exist somewhere else. And there's no reason for any of us to have to be birthed into this just to provide one another support or comfort. No, this whole thing needs to go. And there's no justification for anyone or anything being here. And I'm not saying that you are at heart evil. All I'm saying is, because of the infusion of flesh to spirit, all imaginations of evil are now converted to you, and you cannot exist in an evil realm without acting on evil. And we can keep evil at bay and do our best to keep evil away from us the best that we can. But ultimately, just existing here, you're committing evil. It's not you. Don't get this twisted. In order to act here in any way, you have to commit evils. But that is not to be blamed on you. It is to be blamed on what set this place into motion. And don't confuse the two. Always strive to do the best you can and to bring the most perverted good that you can. There's no real good, but strive for the good, even though it has been perverted and diluted through the evil, shadowy realm of this place.